What about it, YouTube? Okay, I'm going to document the progress on some TRI Z restorations that I'm involved in. So this is an 86 and I'm working out. This is a Raptor, a 2001 Raptor 660 shock. It's almost an inch longer than the stock shock in length from eye to eye. Okay, and so you cannot run the stock linkage with this shock. There is one solution I've come up with. It's running Raptor 350 linkage on it. It'll work. The linkage actually doesn't move, it doesn't articulate. Just the rear swing arm will articulate, which means you're going to get a linear spring rate. It's not going to have any linkage attribute to it. There's no leverage changing shape in the linkage that's going to change the shock rate at all as far as the linkage goes. So it's a solution, but I don't know what's the best solution because the dog bone sticks down quite far on the swing arm. And anyway, it'll work. It's just the dog bone kind of sticks down. If you were to hit, like, let's say a log or something, the swing arm's going to run into it with that linkage set up before the tires hit it, and it's who knows what's going to happen when you slam into something like that, because it sticks down at kind of a steep angle. So what I'm saying is it'll work. The articulation of the shock will be completely linear, meaning that there won't be any, like when the linkage works, the linkage will advance the spring until the linkage is done collapsing, and then from there you have a linear situation until you bottom out. So it kind of speeds up, or it just changes the spring rate because the leverages of the linkage are going to be pressing in a non-linear fashion compared to what it would be without the linkage. Anyway, it's just a different deal. So what the thing I'm looking at to try and get maybe a better scenario is the 85 linkage on an 86 swing arm, because the 85 linkage is different. The shock mount is back further and it has a longer dog bone. This is the dog bone. This is the dog bone off of an 86. The 85 is probably a ½ inch taller, longer, whatever you want to call it, eye to eye here. And the eye to eye for the shaft here is back further on the 85. So I think the 85 and the linkage will articulate with an 85 immediately. This is from the Raptor 350 right here. So with the Raptor 350 setup, this would go up here, and it meets with the shock. I got the wrong other setup here, but let's say it was set up right. You'd have this dog bone from the Raptor 350, and so it goes, obviously to the frame, comes down, and then this will work out on the 350 linkage with your white TRI Z, and it'll line up. Like I say, when this piece moves with the rear suspension, it doesn't rotate like this at all. It just moves up. I mean, it literally doesn't articulate. This connection to the swing arm does not move at all. It's crazy. So it's a completely linear way of doing it, but the dog bone's going to stick down, kind of steep. And so I don't know about that. Anyway, we're going to find it. It'll work. but we're gonna find out if there's a better solution with the 85. I'll do another video when I get the 85 linkage. It's in the mail right now. Anyway, so this is the Raptor 660. So the other situation is the way that the remote reservoir comes out. It comes out the other way, the opposite way, and it has a very short hose. So you can, this shock needs to be rebuilt, but so if you have a longer hose, you could try to mount this in the stock location on the other side, which is over here. Anyway, yeah, there's one of the mounts, there's the other mount. Or you can just come up with a solution like what I'm going to show you right here. So I got these guys off of eBay, okay, and you just take a metal, what do they call them? Now I can't remember the name of it. A hose clamp, metal hose clamp, and that'll run around it, okay? So check it out. It's not going to run into the fender, because the fender mount will bring out the fender enough that it'll still recess behind the fender, okay? And up here where the exhaust will be running by, it'll be below the exhaust, okay? So the only other thing that you have to worry about it clearing, excuse my finger, the only other thing that you have to worry about it clearing is the chain. And let's see if I can get an angle. So if we look down here, yes, we can avoid the chain. We can avoid hitting the chain, or the chain hitting the reservoir. It's got just enough space to do this where it's all going to work out beautiful. The adjustment for the damping is in a kind of a weird place, but it's still accessible. And your shock will just be on the other side, on the exhaust side. I think it's going to work fine though. Anyway, I'll keep you updated with different solutions to this project I'm coming up with, because it's hard to you know, you can't just buy a rebuild kit for the stock shock. So if your stock shock is blown, then you've got to come up with a different solution. There's the Warrior shock solution, but it's not really an upgrade. Some people have somehow been able to get the Banshee shock to work, but I think it runs into the tank because it's not a remote reservoir, so I don't know how they're doing it. This 660 shock idea, I haven't seen. I've only read briefly about someone trying it, and they didn't really go into detail about their solutions, and so I'm trying to share my solutions with how to get this project moving forward. And I'll be back with more videos on the project. Thanks. Bye.